Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to Cohort 5, Class 2011 graduation/pinning ceremony. My names are Josephine Senkongo, the Nursing Program Chair of National American University. I'm here to represent the School of Nursing, the nursing staff, the NAU department, academic department, and I'll introduce ourselves. Before I do that, I'd like to welcome all the graduates to come in. I'm going to ask the graduates one more time to stand up and make a good time facing the family members. Here is a moment when they can say thank you to all of you for recognizing all the sacrifices you need to help them through. Thank you. You can see it. And I love all of them. They're all in black. That tells a lot. Thank you. Okay. I'll say some of the achievements the School of Nursing has accomplished, and then I'll introduce faculty. In January, we attained a full board approval with the State Board of Nursing. We all know that all nursing programs have to be approved and accredited. In March this year, the School of Nursing attained the CCNE accreditation. That means all the BSN programs we do have with National American University are accredited. Then in May, we did seek for candidacy. I know most of you are asking, is your program accredited? We did seek for candidacy because we had to wait for the State Board of Nursing to approve the program, and now we are in candidacy. And in November, they did send us a letter saying that they'll be coming to our school, Denver campus, to do the initial visit. With all the prayers, we'll be in candidacy then, and we'll let all of you guys know. Thank you for your prayers. That being said, I would love to introduce these ladies up front here, and you can tell nursing is a feminine profession. But we have guys now, as you'll see them standing up. Beginning is Gloria Del Vera. Thank you, Gloria, for helping all our students in the foundational courses. Next is Marville Ware. Mar is one of the nursing faculty. The next one is Marika. She was one of the nursing faculty. We do have staff beginning with Denise Walter. We have Yvonne Christ, Foundational Co-Advisor. Sherry Apodaka, Program Assistant Director. And we happen to have Dr. Reyes is on the way, and the campus, Senior Campus Director. They'll be here shortly. Okay, I think it's the time for Laura, Class President.
Good afternoon and welcome to our pinning ceremony. My name is Laura Ranger and I am one of the class officers of Cohort 5. On behalf of the class, I want to thank you for venturing out on such a cold and blustery day to share in this event with us. It is a special day indeed, 2+ years in the making, and we are excited to celebrate this milestone. Without further ado, I would like to invite Josephine. Did you have further words? Okay. Oh, she said enough, she says. Okay, thank you again for your words. The next speaker I would like to introduce is Marie Cook. Marie was one of our instructors and was lucky enough to spend many, many hours with our class. She might not consider herself so lucky, but of course we do. Marie.
Such a high-tech place here, oh my. Okay, well, greetings to all the graduates and everybody who supported them on this long and sometimes bumpy path toward becoming a nurse. I'm sure there are all times that you all thought, both the students and faculty, yes, but also family, is all of this really worth it? Why did I ever think I wanted to be a nurse? So my topic today is, why would anybody want to be a nurse? And I thought that I would go back actually to the foundational class that you all took way back in quarter one, and your book that I'm sure all of you pitched as soon as the quarter was over to say, why am I bothering with all of this? But for all of the family, I wanted to kind of talk about the history of nursing and kind of how you all have evolved to where you are and where you would go from here. In the very beginning, obviously, people have always born and died. And so there's always been people to support that process. In prehistoric times, healthcare was based on rituals, magic, religion, and evil spirits were thought to be responsible for all of our health problems. Egypt, in 4,000 to 5,000 years ago, healthcare came from the very powerful male priests, and nursing was really the realm of men. In Egypt, they worked to decrease spread of illness from poor sanitation and cleanliness. That theme comes up again and again and again as we go through healthcare, that a lot of what helps people to be well is our thoughts of things being clean and looking at healthy food and that kind of thing. Medications from plants first came about back in the Egyptian times. Women really had very limited roles in healthcare. They were midwives, and that was about the role that they had for many, 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 many thousands of years. We did have written rules and rituals about healing and culture as diverse as the Hebrews from the Bible, Greek and Roman writing, the Vedas of ancient India, and Chinese texts. So we knew about healthcare, and there was information written about how to take care of people throughout the times. The only kind of training was on-the-job training. Unfortunately, there was no Noel, no Simman. None of those things were true in those times. Ancient cultures did know about prenatal care and infection control, especially in India. And actually, there was surgery as long ago as pre-Christ years. We actually had surgery. If we kind of evolve now into the Middle Ages, wealthy women and nuns. That was who were our nursing staff. And when we went into the one area where nursing has always changed has been war. Every time there's been wars, there's been times where there's been a real effort for healthcare, and there's been changes that have happened in healthcare. The Crusaders and the Maltese Cross, they were our original kind of symbol of nursing and healthcare, and that Maltese Cross is still on many nursing pins. 1500s to 1700s, pretty dark age for nursing. Nurses were prostitutes and drunks. So even Dickens, when he was describing nursing in some of his novels, they were drunks. Okay. So hopefully we've evolved from then, but nursing did not have a good reputation for a long time. What changed that? War. Okay, in the mid-1800s, two different major wars, the Crimean War and the Civil War. And so our nursing heroines all came out of war. Florence Nightingale and Clara Barton. Florence Nightingale obviously was a very wealthy woman, and for her to get training, she couldn't even find training schools in England. She had to go to Germany to be trained. And so she would never have been successful if she hadn't come from a wealthy family that provided a lot of resources for her to take to the Crimea. In the Crimea, before she came, the death rate, if people were wounded, was 42%. After she and her nurses arrived, the death rate went down to 2% because of sanitation. So, you know, some pretty simple things made a really big difference. The other thing that happened in terms of infection control, and I'm gonna just bring it up because it's kind of an interesting concept. Women who were having babies, when they had babies at home, because if they had babies in the hospital, they died from infection. And the reason was that nobody washed their hands. So when that concept first came about with Semmelweis, that you should wash your hands before you care for somebody, he almost was stoned as to how dare you think hand washing is important and that we're actually causing people to die because we don't wash our hands. So, you know, that core concept was really a fairly major thing. Nursing schools were very limited, and that was one of the things that Florence Nightingale changed, is to actually, she was probably the place where the standard for nursing education first started. When we move into the 1900s, and this was actually where my mom and aunts, I had my mother and two aunts were both nurses. They both went to nursing school in the 1930s. So I still have my mom's pin, and one of the things you got when you finished was you got your own case, and I still have it, I should bring it sometime. It's a silver case, and it has a glass syringe and needles. And the needles are like yay long. So every nurse had their own set of needles that they got to use, giving injections to people. If you all remember when we did the diabetic education and there was the picture in the book that showed how dull needles get after you use them 6 times, it's really a pretty frightening thought, but that was nursing education. If you, in the 1930s, wanted to be a nurse, you went to a nursing school that was hospital-based. And what would happen at that time is you started out, you lived there, you were under very strict rules, almost like a nunnery. You could not be married, you could not have children, any of those kinds of things. And you were there for 3 years. And you went to school in the hospital and you worked in the hospital. You got a half day off a week. And otherwise you worked 12-hour shifts 6 days a week. So, kind of not so different than now, but you know, that was what it was like. And it was, again, you really had very few choices. Like to me, it was very much like being in a nunnery. And what did nurses look like at that time? How did we dress? All in white, right? We had white, long uniforms, and we had these big caps, and the caps identified your nursing school. And so if you think about what did a nurse look like? She looked like an angel, right? And so really the whole concept is nurses were angels. So we were dressed all in white to be angelic. And when you think about nurses, we were called heroines, we were called angels of mercy. And when there was a public opinion poll about professions, nursing was deemed to be the most ethical profession. So, something to kind of look forward to with that. All right, I want to talk about now who is a nurse. If you look at 40% of healthcare workers are nurses. 2.9 million, 5% are male. That number is going up. The mean age of nursing is 47 years old. The mean age of nursing educators is 55 years old. Okay. So many people going into nursing, like you all, it's not a first profession. You're going into it after being in another profession. 56% of nurses are in the hospital, 15% in community health, and right now 9 are what we call advanced practice nurses. And those are nurses who have master's or bachelor's degrees and are functioning in an advanced practice role. That number, I think, will go up with healthcare reform. So what makes nursing different? When you think of all the people that are taking care of patients in the hospital or patients at home, what makes a nurse worth her salary? What does a registered nurse do that's different? Basically, the registered nurse is a coordinating person for care, has more face-to-face time with the family and the patients. Assessment. You all heard about assessment all the way through nursing school. That's what you're going to do all the way through your profession. You're going to initially assess people. You're going to continually assess them in terms of their physical, emotional, their social support systems, planning, coordination, implementation, based on critical thinking. Does that sound like something you learned in your program? To improve healthcare, decrease complications, and using all of the knowledge that you have gained to make a plan so that that person can get better. Nursing is the eyes and ears of the doctor, and really looking at promoting patient education, discharge, and community health and wellness programs. And that is kind of the next step for you all to take. A 2-year program helps you to be a basic nurse. I'm sorry to tell all of your families, the likelihood is you're probably not done. You probably will be enrolled in some kind of a bachelor's program at some point. There's a pretty high percentage of some of the cohorts that have come before you that are already in BSN programs. Luckily, many of them are online, so you don't have to have the clinical time and that kind of thing that you do right now. 21st century challenges, the aging of America. Healthcare reform. None of us knows what healthcare is going to look like over the next 10 or 20 years. Certainly a need for more nurses, more educated nurses, more nursing education programs, more clinical sites, more evidence-based practice. All of those are kind of the buzzwords that you hear in nursing online now. Online education. That was, I'm going to kind of really briefly tell you my nursing history story and how that would have made a real difference if that had been available to me lots of years ago. Why be a nurse? I think that nursing gives you more options, and it allows you to, as you move on your kind of journey of life, to make so many changes. And so I'm going to give you real briefly what my history has been like. I have now been a nurse for 38 years. My pinning ceremony was in December in 1973, so 38 years. I didn't want to be a nurse. I had, if your mom is a nurse, what do? You don't do what your mom does, right? So I was going to work in foreign service and work overseas and, have a very exciting life. In between my first and second year of college, I went to Turkey because I had a Turkish foreign exchange student. And we were on the beach, and I had an accident. I got thrown into a bed of sea urchins. And I had 100+ sea urchin spines in my hands and feet. So I expected my friend, who was going to be a doctor, would be there and would be supportive. Was she? She said, oh, that was a dumb thing to do. We're going dancing. So on my bed of pain that night, I made this life-changing decision that I could certainly be a whole lot better doctor than her. So I told her I was going to change and I was going to be a doctor. And what did she say? You are not. You can't be a doctor. You have to be a wife and mother. So you can be a nurse, but you can't be a doctor. Now again, this was 1970. So, we had a different view of things in 1970. So I thought about it and thought, well, maybe she's right. So I went back and I had to do all of my science classes in a year. So I took anatomy, physiology, organic chemistry, genetics, all at the same time. Yeah. So it was a tough year. And then I graduated, and of course, like all of you were all excited. What are we going to do in our program? And so I did what most of you do, is I was a med-surg nurse. Someplace we all start. And then within a short period of time, I did intensive care, and I loved critical care, and I loved coronary care. That was kind of my real passion. And I did that until the time comes when what happens in our lives? You get married, okay? So then, my husband was a geologist, and in that field, you don't tend to live in big cities. So I ended up working in several small places. I ended up working in like a Denver Cares type place. And then, of course, what happens next in your life? You have kids. So I took my whole focus from adult health to kids. And so that was what I did for a number of years. I was a childbirth educator. I went back to school, got a master's degree. I was going to be a high-risk perinatal nurse, and I had a whole practice planned, and it was all there. And then what happens? Your husband says, oh, we're moving. So we moved to a small town in Nevada that didn't even know what to do with an RN, much less a newly minted master's degree, high-risk perinatal nurse. So I had to figure out how to fit in this town that was 10,000 people. And I got involved volunteering. I did domestic violence work, and over time, I wrote a grant for child abuse education prevention. And so I got working with a lot of families with a lot of problems. And I was thinking, well, I really need to do something different. And of course, you have another experience, And I was on an airplane with Sue Huther, who actually is one of the authors of one of the major pathophysiology books for nurses. And she worked at the University of Utah, and she said, "Oh, what do you do in Nevada?" And I said, well, you know, I told her what I was doing, and I said I really needed to do psych, because I actually always wanted to do psych and never got to do it. And she said, oh, I think we could help you with that. Why don't you come back and get another degree? And it was like, okay, well, we didn't have online education. It was 250 miles to Salt Lake. So I would get up in the morning, I would drive 250 miles, I went to class, and I drove home. I was nuts. I had 3 kids, you know? So I was totally nuts. But it was really good because they let me do my clinical stuff in my hometown. So that worked well. So then I finished and I worked with adolescents. I did an adolescent day treatment program, which was a difficult thing. And I started doing a private practice, and that was really what I liked. And I ended up then having another life change, ending up moving to Denver. And I worked at University Hospital, and I did psychiatric evaluations in the emergency room. And then I made another shift to Denver Health, and I was working with substance abuse clients. And I liked that and did that for a number of years and thought, oh, well, maybe I still want to do some kind of private practice. So I thought, well, I need to make some money in between time, so maybe I'll teach. So that was how I ended up going to NAU and teaching for 2.5 years and developing some of the classes that you all took. And then I said, you know, I really want to get my prescriptive authority hours, and in a couple weeks I'm going to put my application in, because I now have all my hours, 1,800 hours of practice, and to be an advanced practice nurse and prescribe psychiatric medications. So that's my next step. I just turned 60, and I don't see myself retiring. You know, I can't be a hospital nurse and I'm running around the floor taking care and lifting 20 patients, but you know, I'm always going to be able to talk to people. So I can be a nurse into my 70s, or maybe even longer. Depends on how my brain functions, I guess, by the time I get to be in my 70s. So there's so many options for you in nursing. There's so many directions that you can take. You know, it's just kind of a wide open field, and I think with healthcare reform, nursing is really going to be a primary component of healthcare reform. So I think you all have so many options, but you're not done with education. You're going to have to keep going. And I think you will find as you go on your own journey, there's going to be lots of rewards. And I think you will all be, you know, great in your own way, figuring out what's your piece right now, knowing that it can always change and be different. So congratulations to all of you. Congratulations to all of your families. I did want to make one comment for somebody who's not here. So, you know, we have somebody, Sue Ryan, who's not with us. And so I know that she has had an impact on all of you students, and so I just wanted to know that I'm sure Sue is all here with us in spirit. So, congratulations.
Thank you, Marie. I wanted to talk for a moment about, sorry, this microphone's hard to get used to, about what it has been like to be in a nursing program. For the last 2 years, the 19 of us have shared this roller coaster of an experience together, and not only learned a lot about each other, but I would venture to say have learned even more about ourselves. We are a collection of everyday people, and though we are bound together by the common goal of completing a nursing program, we come from vastly different backgrounds, cultures, belief systems, and life experiences, amongst other things. Imagine spending 2 years with a random collection of people. I can't believe I'm about to make this comparison, but it's rather like Gilligan's Island. While we were not marooned anywhere, we have weathered countless tests of willpower and have had to navigate our way through the challenges that being in school and balancing the rest of life offer. It has not been easy. But I can tell you this, I have been in awe of the support, respect, understanding, and grace that this group has displayed. Sure, we've had our moments of bickering or losing it in the heat of a stressful situation, but more than anything, we have shared kindness and an altogether ridiculous amount of laughter. I can't tell you how many giggles, bouts of silliness, or all-out hysterics there have been, but it is enough for me to assure you that this group of people is absolutely hilarious. And it is that has allowed us to end this journey feeling a permanent connection to one another rather than a desperate need to get away. We have long heard of cohorts who reach the end of nursing programs in the midst of fights and a genuine dislike for one another, but this group is different. More than anything in the last few weeks, I have heard my classmates express feelings of sadness at the sense of loss they will feel for not seeing each other on a regular basis. Of course, we are all relieved to finish school and start our careers, but there exists with my classmates and me a sincere affinity and bond. We did it. We made it through this together. It was, without a doubt, our finest group project.
I know, I miss my whiteboard.
And now we would like to share what being in Cohort 5 looks like. Get ready. We just need to get the screen up. Sorry, this just takes a second. They're all saying, this is exactly what it was like in school, technical difficulties.
Any of the students in Cohort 5 have a particular wonderful talent they can share with us? Well, that's
Check. Okay. So we are going to have Cohort 5 come up in their alphabetical order. And we're going to rock out real quick. Now I need a human music stand. So we're going to sing for you the NAU theme song, but this is the epic NAU theme song. Here, you're on. I'll find it. Yeah, if you have camcorders, go ahead and feel free to sing along. And each student has a piece in the song, and they can step forward and take their bow or do an interpretive dance, what have you.
Can you hold two?
You got it, yeah. It is really.
One day, oh, one night, Saturday's alright. Online is just fine. Nighttime, anytime. Get your degree, yeah. Set yourself free, yeah. National American University. Priscilla's the only quiet one, but she's really smart too. She's really not that shy, she just doesn't like you. Mary says shut up a lot, but she always says please. She's gonna be a hospice nurse or work with HIVs. Ryan, oh Ryan, OR at Bronson University.
So one time I was in the OR, the doctor came over, he's like, hey man, can you help me out? And I was like, yeah, sure, what do you need? He came over, he's like, I just need you to maintain sterile technique. I was like, hey, do you need to take a therapy? What is that? Yeah.
We love you, Ryan. Jessica is sweet, really, really neat. She doesn't care what you say, she's not typing. Melanie is a German dog with a really great style. She'll clean you up and give you a shot, all with a smile. Just like me is sometimes late. Simply put, as a nurse, it's really, really great. I'll heal all your wounds, all your lights up the room. Janine is keen, if you know what I mean. With 5 kids and counting, her kindness is astounding. Patricia cooks really good food. Once you get past the attitude, she'll put you in a spectacular mood. Jeff's not here, but we're gonna sing him anyways. Jeff, considering all the rest, has to be the best. He shaved off all his facial hair, and the money badge don't care. Amy's brainy and happy even when it's raining. MB or MD, you can bet that she'll be with all the need. Adam, sometimes be gloomy. Look up at the sky, it's fly for life, come zooming by. Laura loves the 80s, and Adam the ladies. She's smart, she's kind, she's always on time, she's a great friend of mine. Carrie and Mary, but it's way too late for that. Care or envy, either way, her brains is coming instead. Danielle has a heart so big, cardiac docs study it. Don't let the sweet looks fool you, she won't botch you. Deanna can translate gang signs, or if you see you Peter Blue. Watch out, world, 'cause here she comes to an ER near you. Sherry's not here too. Sherry,
school? Is she going to med school? Is she going to be a medical examiner? She makes us all look good. She's a smarty pants. I know, I wish she was here so I could do it too. Oh, it's Raquel, it's Rachel. She always has a great smell. She teaches you how to clean a rectal tube. Make you feel good about being you.
Finally have it working. So, thank you, Adam. Woo! What we do, we improvise, right? Before we get first, we do want to take a moment to honor Sue Ryan, as was mentioned before. Sue is a clinical coordinator who worked with us over the past few years, who recently lost her battle with cancer. I need that right back up. Sorry, I can't. Sorry, thank you. She would probably describe dealing with us as a herding cats kind of experience, but she was relentless about finding clinical sites for the students, making sure we had all our clinical hours, and she was a fierce patient advocate. If it weren't for Sue's efforts, none of us would have fulfilled the requirements necessary to graduate. If you would please, let's have a moment of silence to offer thanks for her commitment to us and contribution to our success. Thank you. And now on to the slideshow. So, this following presentation may definitely be harmful to your health. This is what life is like with Cohort 5. So this is Mike. He's one of our instructors. He's on vacation right now in someplace sunny and beautiful, but he seems normal enough, right? Apparently that's what he's sporting on his vacation. And we have Mel providing sage advice about psych evals. And probably needing one herself. And if you'll notice, Denise is offering Josh a helping hand down there in the lower room. And spreading some joy. We have lots of inside jokes about this, so bore you if we talk about it, but just sharing some of the moments in our lives over the past 2 years. And lots of pictures along the way. This is Josh. Yeah, clinicals, practicing, and this is some of the stuff we've done in the lab, so we'll just kind of zip through this stuff. Starting IVs. Stream focus there with Cassie. And this is one of the quote, robots or dummies or mannequins that we work on. Mrs. Jones. Everybody's Mrs. Jones. Or Mr. Jones. So, Mrs. Jones. And another one of our victims that Ryan's taking care of. Gary practicing body mechanics on me. And Sherry. And this is at one of our I think this is at school, actually.
OB.
Oh, thoughts? We come up with all kinds of imaginative ways to entertain ourselves. There's Mary. So we had a lot of fun in our class with presentations, and it got to the point where we were kind of trying to outdo one another from group to group. So this is just a tamer one, but I think you'll notice her name is Emma Flappy Rear. So that was one of our patients. And lots of accents were used during these presentations. Costumes, rotten teeth, and mullets. Never have too many mullets, right, Jess? Clearly Marie was impressed with all of those presentations. This is what happens when we get a little stressed out. Lots of eating. We did lots of eating too.
It's cold.
Again, laughter. As you can see, we are a pretty hilarious bunch here. This was some of the after hours entertainment. Good job. Early eating and then there was nap time at school sometimes. Lots of practice with technique. And this was what we did on our last demonstration. We took full advantage of secret lab time and
Alleged.
right. Did a code on our robot here. So this is what he looked like. He did not make it. We started calling him Kenny because he didn't make it. Who killed Kenny? And so this was our last hurrah. And these are some of the more priceless moments, just a couple of them. This was when Ryan had a tube of glitter explode during craft time at one of our clinicals, and he went from becoming Sparky to Sparkly. And Ryan again, shocking. I'm sure his family is really surprised. And this is our group, so we survived. Now Janine and Josh would like to present some awards to our classmates.
Yeah, finished.
You have to come up and get your award.
So, for most likely to scream at the top of her lungs on the top of Kilimanjaro, but you still didn't hear her, Priscilla.
If you haven't figured out, these are most likely awards. So this is most likely to get the rarest disease and survive while building an HIV clinic in a third world country. Mary.
For most likely to be the defendant in sexual harassment case, Brian.
Okay, most likely to create a well-researched, extensive, complicated, and in-depth test to verify that she is not a type A personality. Jessica. Okay, we're going out of order. Most likely to need an English to German slang dictionary would be Melanie.
Most likely to have a volleyball team named the Honey Badgers, Josh.
All right, we have most likely to make the Guinness Book of Records for longest study guide. That would be Janine.
Most likely to wrangle chickens and wear boots with spurs while in her scrubs, Patricia.
Okay, Jeff's not here, but he was most likely to quit nursing altogether, and teach booty shaking in Vail.
One guess as to where he is right now. Okay, most likely to form a neighborhood iceberg watch, Amy.
Okay, most likely to go on to get his bachelor's degree despite getting there late every day and sleeping through 70% of the program. Adam.
Most likely to start a band named Foggy Fundus.
Most likely to develop a treatment plan for post-traumatic clown syndrome. Harry, come on up.
Most likely to set up a lizard and wiener dog sanctuary. Danielle.
Most likely to translate for gang members in the ER. Dee, get up here.
And again, Sherry is not here, but we voted her most likely to someday realize her passion for working with corpses.
If you knew her, it's fitting. Most likely to use the mom look when dealing with difficult patients. Rachel!
Most likely to move to Hawaii and open a beach triage center to rehydrate the day after, Cassie.
Last but not least, we have most likely to find a way to combine wound care and hairstyling. We got Ursula. Come on down.
There is someone special, very special, we would like to recognize at this time. Sherry Apodaca has been the penultimate supporter of our class. She has given more hugs, produced more smiles than we can count, and she's simply made our lives better every day for the past 2 years. She has said that she will sorely miss our class, and we will miss her too, more than she knows. Sherry, please stand up and come up and accept thanks for all that you are and all that you have done. That helps. I would like to ask that any staff to come and help us take the Nightingale Pledge and get our pens.
Thanks to all Cohort 5 with the preparation of this pinning ceremony. It's been awesome. I never knew Adam would sing. I usually don't like talking about myself initially, but I have a degree in music, and Whew, that was awesome, okay? I'm born and raised from Africa. I came to the United States in 1989, and I've been here for 12 years. In those 12 years, I went through CNA program, LPN program, got my associate at Front Range Community College, went to Metro State, got my BSN, went to University of Phoenix, got my master's in nursing. Right now I'm working on my PhD in higher education. That being said, you can do it. And I urge all of you, you all know it, that an associate degree is becoming a technical nurse. You need to have bachelor's in nursing if you want to continue this profession. We do have an online BSN program. I know there are other online BSN programs around. I encourage you, if you're interested, to look at it. We encourage students to enroll in the prerequisite courses prior to getting their RN license, but I know before you get to the core courses, you need to have taken that preparation and passed the exam. I would like to introduce Hailey, the Senior Campus Director. She made it. Thanks, Hailey, for being here. Okay, the pinnings session, I'm going to read Priscilla, Act 5, move forward to you get your pin. Mary Block. Ryan Copeland. Jessica Lasker.
Ryan would be the one that would take a long.
Mel Hammond. Josh Hall.
Stand up so you can see your hand. Come here, sweetie. Side. Okay, I'm gonna get my beer. You want my beer? You want my beer?
Janine Kennan. Patricia Lawyer. Next would be Jeff Russell, but he's not around. Amy O'Neill. Laura Ranger. Carrie Stanley. Danielle Testament. Deanna Vilpando. We'll keep the one for Sherry Wagner. Rachel Walter. Cassandra Wickwith. Oslo Wilson. Next, I would like to ask all the registered nurses in the audience to stand up. And I'll ask Denise Walter to pass out the pledge to those nurses. Keep standing. Thank you, thank you. Keep standing. Thank you for being with us here and commemorating the pinning ceremony to the nursing profession. And I'll ask all the students to stand up so we can recite the pledge. Okay, candles on. Some of us may be asking, why do we have the candles lighted? This is a symbolic of the nursing profession. It recognizes the ideas of Florence Nightingale and the lights and the lady in the lamp. Adam, are you okay?
Trying to fix Amy's candle.
The lady in the lamp symbolizes that nurses provide care and the duration to the sick and the injured in the nursing practice. That being said, since 1893, 118 years as of today, we still recite this pledge. Okay, can we start reciting the pledge? In solemnly pledge myself, in the presence of this assembly to faith, practice my profession of nurse. I will do do all in my power to make and maintain the highest standards and practices of my profession. I will hold in confidence all personal matters related to my keeping in the practice of my calling. I will assist the physician in his work and devote myself to the welfare of my patients, family, and my community. I will endure to fulfill my rights and privileges as a good citizen and take my share of responsibility in promoting the health and welfare of our community. I will constantly endeavor to increase my knowledge and skills in nursing and to use them wisely. I will constantly seek to nurse those who are ill wherever they may be and whenever they may be. I will be active in assisting others in safeguarding and promoting health and happiness of mankind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We can sit down. Thank you and congratulations to all of you students, and I hope with self-respect and honor to the nursing profession, you're all welcome into nursing. Thank you.
Lastly, I would just like to invite my classmates to take a moment once again and look around at one another and their friends and family. Turn around if you need to. These are the people who got you through. These are the souls who supported you, offered strength when you didn't think you had anything left to give, provided a shoulder to cry on, or simply made you laugh. We, the members of Cohort 5, cannot thank you enough. So thank you all very much, and please join us for cake and punching the block. Thank you again for coming.